But I've always been a fan of the robots. Hell, my online handle's Robo. I chose that. It's not because I've been sent from another planet to overtake Earth in the form of a middle-aged, out-of-shape, balding, toy-collecting hillbilly. They will never suspect me. Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Tonight, I'm taking a look at the Square Enix Bring Arts NieR Automata 2B and Machine, or as the package says, number 2 Type B and Machine Lifeform. Now, before I even say anything else, I'm going to say I've never played NieR Automata, or the other NieR game, so get it out of your system. Just go ahead, go down and post that I don't know what I'm talking about. But the truth of the matter, besides Machine, because I really dig the look of Machine, I wanted to give Bring Arts a try. I wanted to see what was going on with this line. Plus, the sculpting and the paint looks fantastic. And like I always say, a good toy will get me to buy it. And then, if I didn't know the property before that, if it's a good toy, I will probably become more familiar with the property afterwards. Looking at the package, it's a cardboard box. It's got a window in it. It's showing you the toy. On the side, stuff I can't read. I assume that says number 2 Type B and Machine Lifeform, but I'm just trusting the box with my life. On the back, pretty promotional pictures, which at first I thought was from the game, and, well, it may be. But I have a feeling some of these are actually the toy. I can't tell the difference. I'm kind of cool with that. And then down here is a bunch of unreadables. I have no clue what all this says, but it probably says something like, yes, we're advertising this as a 6-inch figure, but it sure doesn't look like a 6-inch figure. Second verse, same as the first. On the top, little bitty window and some warnings. I used to say, why put a window here? You can't look at anything, but you can see light shine down and it gives you a better look at the figure inside the package. Somebody actually explained that to me in the comment section, and I appreciate it because if not, I'd still be going, why is there a window up here? On the bottom, Square Enix logo. That's about it. But I'm going to get this open and see if this figure's good enough to make me go pay money to buy the game and then spend time playing the game. And okay, we have a triple layer insert here. There's the stand, which that's a lot of stand. Not a lot of stand, but a lot of pieces for a stand. And then the figure itself and everything else comes in another layer, kind of inside. You know, here I am explaining how a plastic insert works. And then thankfully there's instructions because I wasn't sure. Head goes on the actual 2B body, the hands, and then I'm going to have to figure this out. I don't know what's going on there for, you know, to go on the hand. The sword handle comes off, and then I forgot about this little robot too, which makes me happy. I'm good with as many little robots as I can get. It also goes on the stand. I guess that's the reason for all the pieces of the stand. And then the back has the instructions to actually put the stand together. Seems a little bit, yeah, I don't know. It looks pretty easy to put together. I appreciate them going out of their way to make instructions, but I put a few stands together. And then a whole lot of unreadable. Someday I'm going to surprise you guys by learning whatever language this is, and then popping it off, and you'll be like, holy shit, look what Robo did. But probably not. I'm far from mastering English. I don't need to go butchering other people's languages, too. Remember way back when I was talking smack about the instructions to put the stand together? I had to use the instructions to put the stand together. Okay, it's a little bit more complicated. Whatever. Okay, and there we go. All out of the package. And I have to say, these are beautiful toys, but there's a fragility, a frustration level there that knocks it down a couple of points. First up, looking at the sculpt, it's a very nice sculpt. You cannot deny that. The dress has nice wrinkles to it. Up on the front, I almost think it's 2 pieces at the chest area. There's the underlayer of skin and then the dress over it, almost transparent. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here, actually. And then the lower dress part, the embroidery going around the bottom of it is absolutely beautiful. I feel like the paintwork could be a little bit better to kind of get into those grooves to make it a little bit more defined, but it just being there is eye-popping. The thigh-high boots, the sheen is different. It's glossy to differentiate it from the cloth material of the dress. And then there's kind of a paint fade going from thigh to boot. I'm not sure what that's supposed to simulate exactly, but it looks kind of neat. And then up at the head, the majority of this is cast in a translucent plastic. It's clear. And that's the hair, top, back, and then the face is a separate piece slotted into the front of it. So while the hair isn't glass-like, you can't see every detail under it, you can see faint shadows of the eye gear, whatever this is, through the hair, and then the paint on the face is nice and soft, which I feel like fits this design perfectly. And then for machine, oh, this is where I'm gonna gush probably through most of the review. I really like the sculpt work here. I like the design, which is more game, less toy, but you know what I mean. The rivets, the grooves, everything is sculpted in here, and it kind of freaks me out a little bit because the sculpt work is so nice that it makes me think there's more articulation than there actually is. I'd go twisting some parts and think, oh no, that's the sculpt, not articulation. And then it comes along with a nice paint job to give it some fade here and there, a little bit of rust, a little bit of age, just enough to make you think that this has been used in some way. And then it's not listed as a character on the package, but there is Pod, and I got that off the internet. I just Googled that. But I figured it has arms, it has a head, it should be a character. But here, there was some paint lock on the articulation that I had to free up, that I was kind of scared to free up, but it does move. And if it moves, to me, it's a character. The sculpt work is all nice here. It looks like a toaster with arms. I'm a total sucker for that kind of stuff. And there's also different uses of material here. Some of the plastic's rubbery, some of the plastic is hard. But the paint job is nice on the whole thing, even though I feel like there should be some defining trait on the front of it, what you would call a face. But again, game design, not the toy design. Looking at 2B, like I said, it's a little bit fragile, but it walks a fine line. It's not really fragile unless you get crazy with it. But I will point out, I say that I did not plan that at all. I went to lift the arm and that popped off. It's not a super loose joint, but if you pull too hard at that dumbbell in the mid-torso, it does come apart. There is a pop to it though. But I guess this fur trim around the sleeve of the dress is a separate piece, and it's supposed to be glued, I'm guessing, because this side isn't like that. But this side is loose, so I'm going to take a minute, glue that together, and then I will stop cursing this thing for hopefully the rest of the day. To get it out of the way, for all you savages, there you go. Before I go too much further, I'm going to have a gripe about scale, but we'll take care of that when we get to the comparisons. The dress part isn't as soft as it could be, so it sticks out, it gets in the way. For machine, not a lot of gripes here, but you go to work the articulation and it tends to want to fall apart. Work the elbow too much, it comes off the pin. There's not a lock to it, it just fits on there. And that may be because on the Machine 2-pack that came out along with this that I skipped, which I'm regretting now, it comes apart so you can put different attachments on it, you can put different legs on it. I don't know if this is the same sculpt as those, but I'm assuming so. You see the pin? It looks like for a hinge to go in and out, but it's not. That's just a single pin so you can have up and down. There's no twist, there's no in. It looks like it because of the sculpt right there. Not a huge gripe, it just, when you go to pose, you'll think, oh, no, okay. But for articulation, there's a ball. I'm going to show this. There's a ball at the top of the neck. But even with one ball, it gets nice range of movement. You can look down, up not so much because of the hair slamming in the back, and then nice tilt. There's a ball joint going into the torso. Oh, there you go. Oh, look at that. I just found a hinge. There's a hinge in that big poofy top of the shoulder, but I can't get it to move on the right side. It was paint locked, I guess, or plastic locked. Look at that. Molded shut or something, but now it seems to be wanting to go. Swivel hinge swivel at the elbow. Ooh, the elbow. Gets up past 90, and then you get some rotation out of that. Same thing for the wrist, up and down, or you can turn it and swivel to get side to side. Dumbbell joint in the mid-torso gets forward, gets back, side, and I'm going to pop that apart just to show that there's some kind of other dumbbell joint or ball joint at the waist. So you get range of movement there too, but put the two together and it's a little bit hard to manipulate because of the damn skirt. But you can do it if you can keep the pieces together. You do get, if you can keep the thing together. There's a T-bar and then a ball joint going out to the hip, and that's along with the crotch piece being a very soft rubber right there. If it gets out of the way, you want to go out, you want to go forward, you want to go back. There's rotation at that joint, rotation at the boot top, swivel hinge swivel at the knee. It breaks up a little bit, but you can get back that far. And then swivel hinge swivel at the ankle where you can get back, you can get forward, or you can turn that and then get side to side. I don't know. For machine, there's a ball going up into the middle of the head. Can look down, can look up, side. There's a ball joint at the shoulder, forward, back, up, down. Swivel at the bicep, hinge at the beautiful elbow. Swivel right below the elbow that simulates wrist swivel. Hinge at the hand, up and down, that's it. And as you work it, that wants to work off too. Hinge at the hip, I'm going to call it a hip. Goes back, goes forward, and then hinge at the ankle right here. For the pod, you can see right here, let me take it off because everything comes off. There's a separate swivel piece right here that I assume it stays up in front of the face. But with that, you can swivel the arms forward, back, and then, like I said, try to move that thing back up in front of it. There's a swivel at the elbow, and then I think that's it, unless there's something hidden in the head. Maybe it's stuck too, but I'm leaving it as is. For accessories, 2B comes with several sets of hands. In the package, she has relaxed hands, and then she has sword gripping hands, and then widespread hands. And the cool thing about the extra hands, they come on this little sprue piece with pegs on it. I like that. Keeps it all together, and it also keeps the holes kind of stretched out so they'll fit on the peg better. Switching out the hands isn't a big deal. It just pops right off the peg, and then the other hand goes right on. She comes with a sword, and I love the details on this sword, along with the paint work. The grip has a nice wrap to it, and then an age look to it, like it's been held a lot. And then the design work up towards the blade. It's just a nice piece overall. Now, it does come with a handle that pops off, so you can put it in her hand, but it's really unnecessary because the hand stretches out and goes right in there. So I kind of overthought that, I guess. Which is better than underthinking it. Better than a stiff hand, no way to get the sword in unless you have to heat it up and shove it in there. There's a lot of innuendo in this review, isn't there? And then she also comes with an alternate head, which I don't understand the reasoning for because I've never played the game. I don't know why she has her eyes covered on the head that comes on it in the package. But this alternate head, I dig the eye paint. There's a glossiness to it, makes it look kind of wet. There are a couple of specks of black on the face that stands out. I may have to try to fix that later. Pop that off. The whole joint comes off with the head. You just plug the other one in, and there you go. It seems like this one doesn't have as much range of movement, though, for whatever reason. With the set, there is a PEL. I assume Machine carries this. That's how they have it in the promotional pictures. And they could have cheaped out on this, but it's actually kind of a nice PEL. The PEL itself is a softer material. It kind of stretches. It's heavier at the bottom. I don't know if it's because of this concave here. And the handle is actually a metal piece where you can pop that out. There you go. And then you get this crazy peg piece right here. And that's because you can pop Machine's head off, which, truth be told, is a complete pain in the ass trying to pop it off. But with some force, there's the ball joint, there's the socket. This splits apart to reveal the inner workings. There's a huge peg that holds the two halves together. And then you can see right there is the ball joint for that to go in. This peg piece pops into there. Then you put the two halves back together. And that is so you can pop 2B's head off and put this on for whatever reason. I'm sure there is a reason in the game, but I kind of like it. But at the same time, I want my Machine all in one piece. Taking this piece back out of here, though, is tight as hell. I actually have to get pliers. And even then, the damn thing doesn't want to pop out. So I probably won't be doing that much, along with this other piece that comes with it that covers up the neck socket and opens up a hole in the back of the head. Also, not going to do this very much, and that's remove the hand and plug this into there. And this will come into play with the stand here in a minute. That peg is bigger than the hole in this, and I'm just not gonna force it on there. More than likely, this head is staying on Machine for the rest of its life. And then finally, there's the stand, and I'm gonna take a look at it because it holds Pod up, and I like Pod almost more than 2B. But it also has this ring right here, and it's nicely detailed. The sculpt work, the paint wash, it brings out the detail. I kind of dig this. I'm assuming this ring thing in the game holds the sword, or that's where her sword comes from, instead of having a sheath or a scabbard. And the stand actually has a slot to hold the sword right there. Now, if you look at the instructions and where it shows to plug the rod in for Pod, it's the long straight piece pointing down into the stand, and then the short piece pointing up into Pod. They actually have that backwards because the short piece has a thicker diameter and it fits into this hole tight. Try to do it backwards, the hole in Pod, you can't get this bigger part in there. And that's probably way too much explanation just to say, hey, they got it backwards, flip it around, plug it in there. But I will say it's a nice stand. All the joints stay tight. I've been moving this around quite a bit, trying to get pictures and stuff. And that also comes with a smaller one for whatever reason. I guess you can clamp either her legs or switch it out for the smaller one to clamp around her waist and be less noticeable. And then we get to the comparisons, and this is probably where I'm most disappointed. Now remember, the box states 6-inch action figure. Here she is with the Marvel Legends Fantastic Four Invisible Woman. Yeah, I know Marvel Legends skew a little large, but this is kind of crazy. Here she is with the SH Figuarts Black Widow. Again, kind of tiny. And what gets me the most is the head size. I'd be okay with a short figure, but the head size is really, really tiny. Because here she is with the Star Wars Black Series Princess Leia. We all know this is a short figure, but because Carrie Fisher is that short. But then you get to the head size, the face, and it kind of blows proportions out. I think she's more Figma size. They can do anything they want. I just don't feel like this is really a 6-inch scale figure. Here she is with the Figma Deadpool. Even with the Figma, kind of tiny. And then one more to grow on. Here's Machine with the SH Figuarts R2-D2. I like this. I'm not sure what size Machine is in the game, but this works for me if I were to, you know, take this and put it on a different shelf. Here he is with the Hasbro Bombshell, and then here he is with the Marvel Select comic style Rocket Raccoon. I could see this guy being a Guardians of the Galaxy character, right? So at the end of the day, it doesn't really make me want to run out and get the game. I'm sure the game's good and all that. It seems to have its fans. But as of this second, after messing with her for the past hour or so, I'm a little frustrated. I don't want to look at anything near whatever for a couple of days. And it's not really the scale. The scale is the biggest problem. I mean, they say it's 6-inch scale. This is not 6-inch scale. If I liked the figure more than I did, I would find a spot for it somewhere. But because of how fragile, you go to move articulation and something else is going to say, hey, I'm over here, fall apart. She's got a very small base with the high heels. The sword looks 6-inch scale. I don't know if the sword is actually that much bigger than her in the game, but looking at it in toy form right here, it's like that sword's from somebody else, right? No? Oh, well, okay. But I will say I love the pod, and I really, really love Machine. Yeah, Machine comes apart at the joints, but it's only some single joints here or there. But I'm also a sucker for machines, you know? I've always been a fan of those odd-shaped robot-type characters. R2-D2, Marvin. Hell, when I was a kid, I had black hole sheets. So I will be buying more Bring Arts. That 2-pack of Machine that comes with the extra weapons, the extra legs, the extra limbs. Yeah, that is much, much more tempting now. If I'd known better, I wish I had ordered that and reviewed it instead of getting this and reviewing this and then realizing, oh, I should have got that. And then for some reason, this set costs nearly $90, while the Machine 2-pack costs about $45. I can understand all the extra engineering that went into the human-type character here, but that's a huge price difference. Again, I wish I'd got the 2-pack instead of this. But then I wouldn't have Pod, so it's a toss-up. Basically, take this whole review, wrap it up into, if you're a huge fan, go ahead and get this. But if not, if you're just looking for some good toys, this is passable, but it's gonna get you. It's gonna frustrate you a little. So if you like the review, comment, like, subscribe. I'll catch you on the Fwoosh.